Hello YouTube, this is going to be another drumming exercise video. This week's exercise is going to focus on accent patterns. The accent pattern that we're going to do is we're going to play a simple 16th note, just a full bar of 16 notes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. But we're going to add an accent on the downbeat. So it's going to sound like this. Here's the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. And you're going to do a set of 8 accents. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1. So after you do that, what you're going to do next is instead of accenting the first note of the 16 notes, you're going to accent the second note, which is the E. So 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E, 4 E, 1. So here's the downbeat. So if you count, it should be 8 notes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1. And you probably want to count the downbeats, not the actual note, because then you might get off. So just make sure you count the downbeats for 8 downbeats, and you're doing the accent on the E. After you do that, you're going to switch the accent to the and. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, 4, 1. So the important part is, again, any note that is small, you want to tap it low, and any note that is an accent, you want to get it up high. Maybe about 9 inches from the pad. If you really want to work it, maybe 12 inches, almost 100% vertical like that. But you can go for a slightly less angle. This is working on keeping the taps nice and low. And keeping the accents high. So, we got the first note, we got the second note, we got the third note. Now we're going to do the fourth note of the 16th note, which is the So 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1. So just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. So now that we have all the accents, what we're going to do is to start, you can put a measure of 16 notes in between and cycle between all of them. So it'll sound a little something like this. Just like that. And basically what I was doing is I was putting in one measure, maybe 2 measures of a 16-note check, and then switching the accent around. That's just to get comfortable with playing the accent in a specific part of the bar. And you need to be able to do that. If your accents are, they need to be in the same place in relation to the downbeat. So if you're listening to the downbeat, it should be 1 E, 2 E, 3 E, 4 E, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 1. If your accents don't sound like that, then it's not going to line up right, especially when you add in the rest of the 16 notes. So now that we can do all of them, we're going to stream them back to back. So again, we're going to do 8 on each accent, but we're going to take out the middle part and we're just going to smush them all together. So it'll sound like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. So I took out all of the rests or check patterns in between and just played all the accent patterns back to back. Now I was doing that 8 times, 8 times on each accent. But what we're going to do now is we're going to take away, we're going to subtract the number of times you do it by dividing it in half. So we're starting with 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. Now what we're going to do is switch it to 4. So it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So now we're going to put those together. We'll do that in a minute. After we add the next part, which is again dividing in half and only doing 2 notes. So instead of doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc., we're going to do 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. So now that we get the series of 8 accents, the series of 4 accents, and the series of 2 accents, now we're going to change it even smaller. Series of 1 accent. One little accent shifting around an entire measure of 16 notes. So it's going to sound like this. 1E and a 2E and a 3 and a 4E and a 1E and a 2E and a 3E and a 4E and a 1. Just like that. Just like that. So now that we got the 8, the 4, the 2, and now the 1, what we're going to do now is we're going to string them all together. We're going to start with an 8, go to a 4, go to a 2, and then end up at a 1. Now you can do as many measures of this as you want. You know, you can do 4 measures of 8, you can do 4 measures of 2, you can do 16 if you want. You know, instead of doing just 8 accents per hand, you can do 16 accents per hand. You can make this pattern as long or as short as you want. For the purpose of example, I'm going to skip the series of 8 accents and just start with the series of 4 accents. That tends to make it a little bit easier, especially for you guys watching. I don't want you to get to sleep by the time I finish the 8 because it does take a while. So here I am starting with the accents, starting at 4, then I'm going to 2, then I'm going to 1. So here's the downbeat and here's the exercise. 1, 2, 3, 4. So again, you can make these as long as you want, as short as you want. You can just focus on the 1s the whole time, focus on the 2s, focus on the 4s, 8s, whatever you want to do. You want to make up some crazy combination like 3 maybe, you know. But the reason we stay in the 4, the 2, the 1, and the 8 is because they all start and stop in like a 4-bar phrase if you do them properly. If you start mixing in a 3, it's going to be a little bit confusing. So that's why we don't really stick with those. But this is a great exercise to work on your accents when it relates to, you know, height-wise. You know, accents are high, taps are really low. If you're one of those people that goes, you know, your taps are way too high. You're never going to be able to hear that. So when you're doing this, you know, focus on keeping the taps low. Now, of course, in context, if you're playing a snare drum etude or you're doing something for your marching band, your taps aren't always going to be that small and your accents aren't always going to be way up here above your head. This is just for practice purposes. It's better to be able to tell the difference between a really high note and a really low note than to practice with kind of medium notes. You know, eventually you can bring the taps up or the accents down, but what you don't want to do is you don't want to start there because then you'll never be able to differentiate one or the other. So this is a good practice exercise just to focus on the accent height and the tap height. So this is also a great exercise because it teaches you where to place a 16th note within the beat. You know, right now we're using the 16th note check so that our accuracy when it relates to the accent in a part of a phrase is accurate. If you just, you know, if you take out the 16 notes, it makes the exercise a lot harder, and that's actually something you can do. So maybe just play the quarter note, 1, 2, 3, 4. That actually makes the exercise harder, and that's actually a variation that you can do. You know, maybe once you get comfortable with the 16 notes, take out the 16 notes and just play the accent. It's very good for timing and placement of a beat because it's very important to be able to place a note wherever you want, not just swing your hand, swing the stick, and hope that it lands in the right, you know, time or the right position within the bar. So this is a great exercise. You can take this to very high speeds, you know. And then, of course, adding in other accents and blah, blah, blah. That's just me goofing around. But as you can tell, increasing the speed or decreasing the speed, that's also a good thing. Making sure you can play it at a fast and a slow tempo. This is a great exercise. You can use it for a ton of stuff. You can use it for chops, accent, placement of the beat, timing, everything. It's a great exercise. I'll be back next week with another exercise for you guys. Thank you for watching. If you liked this exercise, go back and check out some of the other exercises. Those are all on my page. And if you like my videos, please subscribe to my channel. And that way you will get updates on your YouTube page and or your email address on when I post new drumming exercise videos. Also check out some of my other content. I have some stick trick videos that I've been working on and they're pretty cool, so check those out. And thanks for watching. I'll see you guys next time.